Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Howard of ForderLearnToFly. As many of you know, I conduct lessons on flying for sim pilots. I have Udemy courses on udemy.com, and you'll see more details down below in the description. The main thing that keeps me busy is my lessons on Tuesday night on Twitch, and I also have group fly on Saturdays on my Twitch channel, and certainly a lot of YouTube recordings to so that we have staying power for some of these lessons and some of these sessions. But one thing I want to talk about today, and I'll take a moment of your time and talk about something I'm really passionate about, and that is the realism of flying. In the realism of flying, I've gathered the hardware I need, like a yoke, like a throttle quadrant, like a stick and a collective when I do helicopters, and all the monitors that I need for monitoring the stream itself and to also fly with the screen right in front of me. I've got the flight sim builder hardware in front of me so that I can use real dials and buttons to do the avionics. So to complete the task of realism, I turned first to a hardware product, and now, and the reason for this video today is I've turned to a software product right behind me here. This software product that you see here, the Beye tracker, this has been a game changer for me. It's done the equivalent or more than what I got with the Tobii hardware solution, which costs hundreds of dollars. This product costs $29.95, and it's a software product that will work with any webcam and any phone. Take a discarded phone, take your old phone before you upgrade it to your new phone. Just use that. Take your current phone, just mount it on its stand and use that while you're flying. I mean, this can be used not just for flying like I do, but it can be used in 200 other games. And so I use it primarily in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I was using the Tobii in 2020 until that wasn't native anymore, and the frustration of trying to get that working again without its beautiful sliders just turned me right off of the Tobii system. And I discovered the Beye tracker, and I have to talk about it. And I also asked them if I could become an affiliate for them because I'm already passionate about it. I love it. It's doing a great job for me, and so for some of my fellow flyers. And so now I'm also an affiliate with the company. So there is a small commission they'll send me for every sale. But the point I'm talking about here isn't the fact that you can buy it through my link. The point I'm talking about here is how much realism I can attain by just looking around my airplane, whether it be finding VFR checkpoints on the ground, whether it be looking at any of the avionics, whether it be zooming in close, or whatever I need to do in an airplane. I no longer have to figure out the mapping of my hat switch. I no longer have to figure out which keystrokes I have to do to get closer to my avionics, or to look at the fuel selector on the floor. We all know that simply looking to something is the way to go. Now, in the past, I've had all the different trackers. I've had the kind that attach to your hat, the kind that have reflectors on the front. I've had the kind that have IR lights on the side. I've had all of those, but they're just tracking your head movements. What we found here with this eye tracker is it really does track the eyes. The first software product to do this, apart from the hardware solution I used to have with Tobii. So this was a perfect replacement and an inexpensive replacement to go towards working in 2024 with Microsoft Flight Simulator. And now I'm happy. I've got what I had before in 2020 at a much cheaper cost and very easy to set up. So what I like to do now is I like to just take you through, first of all, give you the experience of what that looks like, and then go in and play with some of the settings. All right, and I'll talk about how to set it up too if you'd like. They have their own videos on how to set it up, what you need to do, and it was easy to follow. I just followed that. I'm a technical person. I could have figured it out, but it was so much easier to go through their videos. So I'll give you a link for that too in the description. But let me just show you my experience working with this tracker. So here we're going to demonstrate flying, just so you can see. I got to quit looking over at the recording screen. I'm going to focus on the flying now itself. I'm out of pain, and I'm going to head over towards Harvey Airport. And you can see now, you can just look like you would normally look to the right before you make a left turn. You'd look up to see if there's anything before you climb. You'd look over to the left here, gorgeous view looking down upon the Seattle area, or it's not Seattle yet, it's north of Seattle. And then looking over at the airport. Now, one of the things I really like about a head tracker, and especially an eye tracker, you can be looking at your instruments. Like in a downwind, you're going to be doing instrument checks. You're going to be looking at your quantity, temperature, pressures in the green. Here I am on a downwind. I'm actually full speed here, so I better pull back some power. I'm on a downwind here for my runway, and I can look out the window. And that might be a bit disorienting at first for you, everybody, but what you're looking for as a pilot is you're looking for specific things. Now, right now I'm at my downwind speed. I'm good. I'm looking over to see when, and that's a bit jittery now. I'm going to have to fix that, but I'm looking over to see the runway itself. There's the start of the runway. All right, I'm going to be reporting mid-field, mid-left downwind for 16 left, right? And that's really what I'm after here. So I would be looking out my quarter like this. And when I need to, I look back at the instruments. Before I make my turn to base coming up, I will look to the right, make sure there's no traffic coming straight in on base. I'll also look over here to make sure that I'm just going to look like this to make sure there's no airliners in my path, because they could be. That's the big Boeing factory, right? So you might tune down the responsiveness. I can see everywhere I'm looking with my eyes and my head is almost too much. Oh, there's where I would report downwind, because I'm past the runway now. All right, so I look right like this, no traffic, and I'm making my turn. Looking left, there's where I want to make my turn. Pulling back some power into the flap range. You can see I'm not looking straight ahead. I'm not looking directly left. I am actually looking where I need to look. And same with here. From here I'm going to look and judge where the runway is. Hard to tell, I mean, unless you know the area, it's way back there. But this is the Boeing factory, you guys, and so I'm just going to give it a little bit of power here. I'm a bit too slow. And this is my base, and I want to be down around 900 to 1100 feet. That's a bit low, but I'll use that, give it some power. And now I'm hitting on my final. I'd be telling them that I'm on final. I use say intentions, you guys, and I use live radio with my mic. And I can see now I'm on sort of a slant final. And it's cool because I can look quarter. Instead of just, you know, if you use your hat switch, you got to snap it left or snap it right. But here I can look on the quarter and see that I'm sort of crooked. I'm going to straighten up now. And as I straighten up, my gaze is on the runway. You notice the runway stays in the middle of the screen. And now I can head in for my landing. Now, this isn't a landing exercise right now, you guys, but you see the idea that I can be looking left and right. Now, let's just say I need to do a go around, so I'm going to go like this, give it some power. I'm going to do a go around, and now I can actually look to the left through this little area here and see why they told me to do a go around. Oh, look, there's an aircraft on the runway, you know, or even out like this, and I'm looking down now. I mean, look at that view. That's gorgeous. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I love the product, right? And in all phases, you know, looking over here if I need to talk to that person. I do have intercom with say intentions to talk to my co-pilot and also any crew that's inside the plane. And between say intentions, which makes the whole thing come alive, and my Be My tracker, I now have everything I need for flying. All right, I'm looking right, no traffic coming at me. I'm going left. And again, my eye is where I want to go. Looking up, make sure there's no traffic there either. In VFR, you're always looking for traffic. And actually, to give you an idea again, looking down how fun that is, I'm going to look here because there should be a Home Depot right about there. Look, there it is. Now I'm actually outside the plane, so let's see if I can do it more realistic. I'll be inside the plane. There's Home Depot. And you know, you don't have to think about, okay, I need to map a 3/4 view. I need to map a down 2/8 view. Or a 1/4 view. I need to map a left view looking down. No, you just look there. You just do it naturally. And that's what we're doing here, you guys. So I hope that gives you an idea of what it's like. This is fun for me. This is exactly what I need. Oh yeah, I want to read the placard to find out about things that are restrictive. No aerobatic maneuvers. Okay. But spins are approved. Okay. But you can see how much fun it is. I could do this all day, but we'll make sure the video isn't too long, as I typically do. I might want to go in now and change something on my audio panel. There it is. I want to listen to COM 2. I might want to come down here and do something on my soft keys without changing any views. I might change some switches, look back outside to make sure I'm flying properly, go back down and change some things. You know, I mean, I just love it. I'm not flipping any switches. I'm just using my eyes and using my head. And it's flawless. And I'm using cheap hardware and cheap software to make it all happen. Absolutely loving it. Now that has to be the coolest thing I've ever used. It was so easy to use also. But let me just talk for a minute about the key features. So I've got them listed here so I can remember them all. So I'll just glance at my main monitor while I'm doing that. But first, I do want to mention that it is the first and only webcam eye tracker for gaming. All right, and you don't need expensive hardware. Now you might say, oh, what's the price of the webcam? I have multiple webcams hanging around from over the years, moving up into a 4K that I'm using right now that you see. And I've still got all of my other webcams that I used to use. What do you do with them? I took 3 different ones. One was a very old one, and tried them with the Beye tracker, and they worked. So I really love the fact that you can just take a used one or borrow one, or somebody doesn't want theirs anymore and they moved up to a better model. Or you can just go and buy an inexpensive one. They're not expensive nowadays. But that would be your hardware cost. Now, instead of doing that, you could also use your phone. Take your older or even your current phone that you're using, your smartphone, and use that. And that can be used, and it's real easy to use. All right, you could use an iPad also. So these can be something you're already using. They don't have to be old or discarded or whatever, and you can just use that instead. And that's the flexibility I really like. Now, I just took an old webcam. This is a Logitech that I have here. I have it down set just a bit lower than the camera you're seeing right now. And we'll see that when we go and take a look at some more details about setup. But I just plopped it on my Flight Sim Builder avionics hardware, and it just works. And I really like that because it's just simple and easy to set up. My other webcam just clips on the back of a laptop. And I also tried it with my laptop camera, and it worked too. I have Sim on my laptop also. So the flexibility of all that. So an eye tracker. Now that's the big difference, you guys, because there's a lot of head trackers out there. There's head trackers that put attachments on too. This is no attachments. It's actually watching your eyeballs, even through my glasses, of course, right? So more gaming immersion because you're eye tracking over 200 games, and it's using something called OpenTrack, the OpenTrack extension. And we'll just go and take a look at that setup in a minute. Quite honestly, I only had to click once inside OpenTrack to connect the Beye tracker with OpenTrack, and that was it. And then my sim already saw it. So, it was a simple click and away I went. But then I started tinkering with some settings, all right? And so we'll show you what that looks like. More insights with gaze recordings to rank up faster in your favorite games. I haven't done that, but it's actually pretty cool when I saw a description of that and how it works. And I think the bottom line of what I'm describing here is simple setup, inexpensive, software-based, instant download, away you go, and grab any old piece of hardware you have, including your current phone, and get rolling with this. And I think that's probably the tipping point for a lot of people when they decide to actually buy the thing. All of the above, right? And continue on with that. 60 plus FPS tracking and supported cameras, right? So, and cameras that can do 4K and above. So let me go take a look at this and just show you what it's like to set it up now. All right, you've seen in action what it looks like to use it. Now I want to go and let you see how to set it up. Let's go do that now. So we'll start out here just in an airplane sitting on the tarmac. I'm at Payne Field, my favorite airport, when we did all the lessons with Jane, and also I just did a recent ATC live demo here. And I'm just using my hat switch. Left, right, back, forward. Yeah, and those are handy. Those are snap, and that's it. Now what if you're inside the plane? Left, good, right, and that's okay. I mean, those left and rights work with your hat switch. And some people will use their hat switch for other reasons, but that's already built in. No doubt about it. But now I want to look down at my fuel switch and see what position it's in. There's no look down inside here, so I got to do this and look down. Oh, it's on left, like a lot of the missions in 24 that get people in trouble. And that's realistic, you guys. In real life, we change that to left or right when we shut down, and we check it and put it on both when we're taking off or when we're leaving. But you notice I'm using my right mouse. I'm clicking and then moving around. I've got to take my hand off whatever I'm doing, use my right mouse and click and move around. And for some of you, okay, that's the cheap way to do it. And it will work for you. Here's what we can do now. I'm going to turn on, using Alt-7, which is the default, I'm going to turn on my eye tracker. And because my head's right up close by the mouse and the keyboard, now I'm going to sit back in my seat and relax. Now my eye's just turning to the right, turning to the left. I'm going to look right out my left side. Oh, there's a fellow there. I got to watch out for him. I'm going to take the flaps down and see that they actually are coming down. And this is a check we do when we do that. It's jittering right now because it's on the edge of my glasses. So if I take my glasses off, it shouldn't be jittering over there. Okay, so that's because it's trying to look through the edge of my glasses. All right, so I can change that setting. All right, so I'm going to go change that setting. All right, another thing, I want to look down at the floor. I want to look down at the floor, and I want to see the fuel. There's a fuel on left. I'm going to change it to both. I want to look closer now at these dials. And I also want to look up here and go, oh, this should be on. Matter of fact, I should actually have an engine running or I'm going to kill my battery. So I'm looking down at my mixture. That's all the way in. That's a quarter. And I'm going to go and turn on the master. It's already on. And I'm going to hit the start switch. And I've already killed my battery because it won't start. And if I look down here at the engine, I've got 11 volts. I'm dead. I've been sitting here with this thing open for a while, I guess. And so I'm going to have to restart the mission. All right, so let's just do Alt-7. Gets you back to no head tracking. All right, and I'm just going to do a quick restart here so that I've got a battery that I can use. And that was a surprise. That wasn't planned. As you can tell, there's no cutscenes in here. There's no mistakes being made so that I can start over again. But there we go. And the head tracker's already on. Now I'm outside the plane and I'm going to do a walk around. I'm looking at the ailerons over there. I'm looking at the flaps right here. I'm looking down at the plane. So can we do a walk around like this? Well, normally you need to use your right mouse. I'm looking right underneath the plane like this. Normally you need to use your right mouse and move around. All right, now you can actually just look around. I want to open the door. All right, let's go over here. I'm really close because I'm touching the mouse. I'm going to sit back a little. I'm going to open the door. Is that cool or what? Okay, now I haven't done a walk around, so I mean that's not going to be good. So I'm going to get back out of the plane. All right, so from here, what I want to do is just click the things I'm supposed to click, like this. Actually, we can't do anything from here, so I'm going to start moving around the plane. I'm going to come outside the plane now, and now I can look down here. Now, I think because I'm too close to the camera, you're seeing that, and I can fine-tune that. Get rid of that, do the chocks while I'm here, and then come to the front. Now, for moving around, I still had to use my cursor keys or the mouse, and then now I've done the walk around. Now I'm going to move around again, come back to the plane, have a look around it. I'm just turning my head to look here. I'm not using the mouse to turn my head as I look at the different parts of the plane. But now to go forward, I am using the cursor keys to go forward like this. And I'm looking around to the side of the plane, checking, yep, all the rivets are there. Believe it or not, we check those things. And then we go in and check the oil and stuff like that. I'm going to just go back into the plane now because that's really what we want to see in action. I'll sit back normally like this. There's also a button that you can map, and it suggests you do that. I'll show you how to do that. There's a button you can map that will center it again, like that. All right, because it could get, not necessarily a collaboration thing, but I could be looking this way, and then whoever that person is, and then I might want to reset it before I look around. Now, when I first set it up, I couldn't look all the way sideways like this. I could only look maybe 3/4, so I changed it so that I can look all the way sideways. And then now when I'm looking while I'm flying, same with when I'm landing, I'm going to look down this way. All right, and then each of the things along the way. Now if that gets out of alignment, like right now I'm looking straight forward, I just do a click and I'm back to here. All right, well, I've still got the voltage. I'm just zooming in to have a look. 23, yeah, I think 18 is the lowest you can go before it won't start anymore. The starter solenoid won't kick in. So let's get this going. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to look down here and make sure that I have my parking brake is set. It's right there. Good. And so I'll just put that back on so I can see it. Good. And so now I'm just going to say prop clear. That it should start up just fine. There we go. I'm going to take it up to 1,000 so it stays charging. On these airplanes, they got to be around 1,000 RPM. And I also want to take a look at my fuel, as you can see down here, and turn that to both. Beautiful. And that's what I want. And a fast way to get back again is to just look back and just hit your reset, and you can see here. Now I also want to turn on my avionics. They're on, and no, they're not mapped. And I just want to go over here and hit that. Once it comes up, there we go. And that's everything that we need for flying. All right, let's just have a look here. If you use your mouse and move around like this, I'm just using my mouse this time. Now, guess what happens when you hit the reset? It's going to reset to there. That's my reset. I want to have my reset over to the front again. So if you do use your right mouse sometimes like this, then you could change your default. This is going to be my default like this, because now when I look left, it's what I'm expecting. And I'm looking right. I'm even looking in the back seat, which is kind of cool. Let's see if anybody's sitting there. Nobody's sitting there. Cool. And I like the fact that I can look all the way around to the back seat. All right, before we go flying, let's just hold on that. I'm going to do Alt-F, sorry. Windows key, oh my gosh. Alt-7 turns it on and off. Alt-7, you guys. You can tell this is not scripted. Alt-7. All right, so now let me just take a look at two pieces of software. First, the Beye tracker is the software that you use to configure, but second is the little squid called OpenTrack. I'm going to open that up right now and show you what that looks like. Today it's green. Oh, there it is. Now it's pink. Now this is really what's taking the input. This is the interface between the Beye tracker and your sim. And so it's taking its input from the Beye tracker. And when I go left, when I go right, when I look around behind, it goes green. When I'm looking at the front, it's red. Look at that. So that's a good test to see if it's working even before you open up whatever game you're using. I love it, and all the values are there. You can see in here, it says iWare Beam is the one that you use as its input, and then FreeTrack 2.0 is already there. And all they suggest we do, and there's my Logitech cam, and all they suggest we do is just to go to options and do one of the, it says you might want to do a global shortcut. Any of these keybinds you can do, start tracking, end tracking, all the rest you can bind to buttons. I've only bound one button, and that's my joystick button number 1 to make it center. And that's all I've done in here. And everything else I haven't done yet. Now, I can leave that running. I had to run this first and start it. I'll leave that running now, and when you start your iBeam tracker, I'll just look down here on my menu. The Beye tracker is this circle right here. And when the Beye tracker is running, you'll see now, look where it says calibrate. If I sit back and relax, there's my eyeballs. Ooh, look at that. And I've turned off the tilting function so that it doesn't tilt left and right. I'll show you what that looks like. So the one thing, and the main thing you have to do is just simply go to the gaming extensions. Now before I go to extensions, that's where I'm going to dwell for a while. I'm going to go in here to the eye tracking overlay. I just want to see what that is. And you notice that now, as soon as it came there, I jumped up and took a look at customized settings. That's my eyeball, you guys. That's kind of freaky, isn't it? I'm going to look up here at the heading indicator. I'm tilting my head a bit, and I'm looking up. If you actually focus, and now I'm looking down, looking up, down, up, down. I'm looking at the don't show this again. I'm looking at altitude. So it's just showing you where the eyes are as I look around. And now if I need calibration, I can certainly do that. You can play with that too. You can see in here it tells you how to do it when the eye tracking is enabled. Now it's talking about how to go in there and figure out what to do next. You can change all these things, hide the overlay, do whatever. All right. So this is cool. This stuff that they show us, and it's still on. So now what do I do? Well, I don't want to leave that on, but it's actually pretty cool, isn't it? I want to leave this. I want to go back to the Beye tracker, turn off the overlay. All right. Now I want to go into the extensions right here. And what are the extensions? All right, so we're going to just go in like this. And there's all your settings, you guys. General, camera, performance, hotkeys, help and about, and quick setup. Now I just do this. Most times I just come here to quick setup. All right, and as you go to each one, as you hover without touching it, it tells you what each thing is. I'm not going to go through all of them because you're going to figure it out yourself. All right, but you can see in here the gaze filtering. If you tune it to smooth and stabilize the eye tracking signal to your preference. The higher the value, you will achieve higher smoothness. I'm going to only point out 2 or 3 settings, you guys. So first of all, I had it set for head because my eyes were all over the place looking at my recording, looking at the stream, looking at people's chat, and I was in all my different screens, and what they saw in the sim, what they saw back here was all over the place because of it. All right, and so I put it on head only, and I would glance over at another screen and glance over at chat, and that way it didn't change the view for them. So a little different while I'm streaming on Twitch or on YouTube, but here's the normal setting, head and gaze. All right, so let's just use that for the moment, and let's turn it back on. I'm going to do Alt-7, Alt-7, and now I can see there's my normal view. But as I use my eye, I'm moving my eye now, you can see it seems a little more nervous. Turn my head to look left, but I'm going to take my eyes and look right. And as I keep looking right, it just keeps saying, oh, you want more right. So you know, you're going to have to take a look at this and say, which one would you like? Now I'm going to zoom in here to see my avionics. I'm going to look to the right. I'm keeping my head in the same position, but my eyeballs are changing. Now I'm looking left. Now I'm looking down. And now I'm looking up. So you know, this is cool because I can look around my cockpit now and see the things I need to see. I find that the eye and the head are the best. But when I'm running a stream and I've got to look at multiple screens, I turn off the eye part because it wanders a lot. And what they see ends up being a jittery mess. All right, so that gives you an idea. To save you that distraction, I'm going to Alt-7 to bring it back, turn it off again. You can map that to a button. Now we're going to go back and take a look at a couple more settings. We look at a couple more settings. There's my Beye tracker. And let me just get rid of that screen. Oops. Right here, Beye tracker. But somehow it keeps this up. There we go. All right, so gaming extensions again is where we're at, right? And so I'm just going to go in here. You've got to turn those on to make them work. Now this Beye tracker is what's picking everything up and fine-tuning everything and sending it over to the OpenTrack program. The OpenTrack is free, by the way. The little squid, when you use that little squid, this is a free open source thing that's used for a lot of things. And as a matter of fact, believe it or not, Tobii is now using this to make it work in 24. They're using the free interpretation software just to make your Tobii work. And that's a pretty expensive piece of hardware just to go in and use this. The same thing that we can do here with a very inexpensive piece of software. All right, so let's come back here to this and here. And now we want to go into settings again. I want to show you a couple things. Now, first of all, the head tracking yaw range was down. I don't know if I did it, but I know that it was at 35. And so was the pitch range 35. There's where it was, and I think those were the defaults. Because I was looking at my settings. I'm going to just minimize so I can pull it up again. I was looking at my settings, and I noticed, let's go back to center. I've noticed when I turn left, I couldn't go all the way left. I'm really struggling. I'm putting my eyeballs far left. I'm really stressing my eyeballs out to try and look at that person over there. So I thought, wait a minute, I want to be able to look far right. I want to be able to look over and when I'm midfield, when I'm coming in for a landing. So I did want to do something more with that. So let's go back to, again, I'm going to just stop it because as I look at other screens, right now I'm looking over at my far right screen so I can find this screen again. So now what I want to do is, that's my yaw range. Yaw is left to right. And for the yaw range, I'm going to take this up. And I like to do extremes just to see what it does. Same with the pitch range. I noticed I couldn't look up through the sky. I have some aircraft like helicopters that have a bubble canopy, and I can look straight up or I can look down when I'm working with helicopters. So the pitch range, which is up and down, I turned those up. The rest of them, I held them for now just to see what happens. And it's really about experimentation, right? And if you're unsure what it does, just hover. This one says the eye tracking responsiveness. Adjust the responsiveness of camera movements to the eye movements. Lower values result in smoother camera movements, but introduce a delay. And I like that because it doesn't snap and jitter. So they're set at 50, we'll just leave it at that, but you can actually play with these later. I usually change one variable at a time. In this case, 2 different axes. I'm cranking them to 100 just to see what that looks like. And I guess they were at 100 because it doesn't let me save. Okay, just a minute here. Let me just make sure. Back to here, and back to here. Yeah, they were at 100. Okay, that's fine. All right, now at 100, when I turn this back on, I should be able to look all the way left. Look, I'm turning my head, but I'm also crouching down to look under the wing. My eyeball's all over the place. I might turn off the responsiveness of my eyeball. And then I'm looking over here. Now I'm going to pitch up if this had a bubble canopy, or if I want to turn some switches on an overhead panel. Perfect. I'm looking to the right. I can look over to the right. I can look past this person by moving my head over to the left a bit. Hello, he's looking right at me. Hello. And then now I can actually go over here and look at the map. I can go over here, look at the MFD, and look down here on the floor. Now that might be a little too jittery, or not jittery, it might be a little too fluid for you. A little too fast, my movements. So let's see if we can fine tune that, everybody. Alt 7 again, just to get back to a normal screen. I'm doing this every time to make sure we have a fresh one. So let's go here, fresh one. And now I like those settings. I'm going to leave them like that. The eye tracking responsive. Now it said it would be smoother if I brought this back to a lower number. All right, I'm going to bring that to about 35. Eye tracking yaw range. So that's using your eye. I'm going to leave those the way they are. The pitch and yaw, I've already fixed those. The head tracking yaw range, the eye tracking. Now this would make your eyes more extreme. The more you look left, the further left it'll go, right? So that's good for me. I like that. Tracked eyes. I know one of my fellow pilots, my host on my Twitch stream, has a lazy eye, so he's going to just do one eye only. I think the head tracking unit that he's using with an attachment on his hat doesn't do eye tracking, so he just has head movements only. But now he can move to this software and do his one good eye, which is really cool. Let's have a look at some of the other settings here. The eye tracking overlay, you saw that come up. It's disabled by now, right now. And then you can see what happens in that too if you want to leave that on. Let's turn it on for the sake of this video, just so that you can see where my eye is while I'm looking at this stuff. All right, and you can see where my eye is now. So let's just see what that's all about. Eye tracking overlay, color, index, and opacity. Right now you can see it's got a circle, but you can still see underneath it, right? And the radius, well, let's just see what that does. Crank it up. It's a bigger radius. Do you see that? And that might be because you want to focus on something, maybe a tutorial video. I don't use it, but I can see its uses. I'm focusing on the PFD. Now I'm focusing on the MFD. If I look over at it, and I got to change my eye range because my eye can't get quite over to it. Probably because it's almost off the screen. But you know, you can change the radius. That's what that was all about. Or even fine tune the radius like that, if you want to show it something real simple like that. And then, not sure about these numbers here. Color, hex, and opacity. Okay, that's the hex now. Okay, well, that's sort of like programming, right? Multi-screen pointer. That's interesting. So what does that do? And it says enable to automatically move your mouse control to the screen that you are looking at. For best performance, ensure that the display shown the camera placement settings. So, you know, I do have multiple screens. I may want to show those, but right now it's only recording this screen that we're on right now. Mouse jumping. These are all things I haven't tried yet. You need to go and try them. You just got to see what's it like, right? Privacy filter. Huh, that sounds interesting. When enabled, the areas you are not looking at will be hidden to protect your privacy. So I might have a Discord screen up of my Discord server, which has everybody's ID on it. And let's just see what that looks like. What does that do? Save that. All right, and I noticed that my other screens are blurred, but take a look at this. I'm looking over here in the middle of this, and the background blurs. Is that cool or what? Not where my cursor is, but where my eyes are. I'm going to move my eyes over here now, down here. And look at that, my my dashboard in the plane is now clear, but the outside's blurred. Great for photography. For instance, let me just save that. Come out of there. Actually, let's take off my eye, the eye overlay, just to show you what that can look like. Hold on, bear with me. Take a look at this. This is actually very cool. I just realized what I can do with this. All right, let's turn off the overlay back here. Actually, there was a button on the main screen for that. Turn off the overlay, but we're still keeping this idea of the blur. All right, so my focus right now is on the PFD, and as I work with that, I'm now going to look outside over here. Everywhere my eyeball is the clear part. I'm looking across the top. Now I'm looking at the MFD. I've noticed though that it's not doing my head tracking. Nothing. Oh, maybe I don't have it on. Hold on. There, now it's on. Okay, so I'm looking at my cockpit. The rest is blurred outside. Now I'm looking outside, and there's blur around the edges. Well, that's pretty cool. Let me just try it from this perspective. If I were looking at this plane like this, and there's so many possibilities here. Could it blur the rest of the background? It'd be a great photo, right, if I could focus on it. I'm just trying to focus and stay there, and then get a picture of that. It's interesting, some of the applications that we could probably do with this. My eyes are all over the place, you guys, and that's why I don't use the eye tracking. But let's just see if we can tame that. All right, turn that off for a second. Back here, bear with me, one more setting maybe. Giving you an idea what it's about, you guys. I don't expect anybody to jump in and buy software if they haven't seen someone using it. So what I want to do is slow down the responsiveness of my eye. My eye's moving too fast. It's jittery. It's moving all over the place. It's an age thing, you guys. Let's see. Eye tracking, yaw range. Now that's the range. That's head tracking. That's eye tracking. Pitch, yaw, and responsiveness. Here's what I think I might need to do. Let's take that down to 18, just for testing. Now, let's turn it back on. And now I move my eye. Let's see if it's not as, there's my head and my eye looking out. That should be in focus. Oh, you can see the circle. Maybe I have to make the radius bigger. And you can see my eyes looking up. I think my hat is in the way, you guys. Let me just take my hat off for a second. No, it doesn't appear to be the hat. Look down here. Definitely in focus, and that other part's blurry. So that actually makes for a great photo. You want to focus on controls. You want to focus on that fuel selector. That is cool. And you know, I can see the possibilities here when you're taking screen snaps. I'm not so sure you want that while you're flying all the time, but that whole blurry part just kind of makes you feel like, uh-oh, I need my eyes examined, right? Put my hat back on. No, it didn't make a difference with the hat. All right, so there's still a bit of jittery, but that's okay. I mean, you'll figure it out for yourself, right? On what works for you, but the possibilities are there. Just unbelievable possibilities. All right, so I'll just come back here. I'm going to turn off that blurry. What was the blurry part? It was the privacy filter. That's what it was. Interesting, there's a blur and a dim. And I haven't tested this, you guys, but let's just, oh, that's interesting. And now you can see where the parts it was focusing on, but you can see how jittery my eyes are. I'd have to do something with that. I'm looking everywhere. Now, oh, I haven't even turned on the head tracker now. So Alt 7 turns on the head tracker. As I move my head now and my eyes, there's a person right there. Follow that person. Come back around. Is that person still there? Yep. But you know, I haven't tamed it yet, you guys. You can see I got some work to do. But you know, I love it. And I'm looking around the plane.
To soar, planting knowledge like a seed. With patience and kindness, he shows the way, turning clouds of confusion into a sunny day. He's got the wisdom of the real world skies, Forder, helping us realize that flying's not just a dream in the blue. With Forder by your side, you can make it true. Fly with Forder, where the knowledge flows, through the winds of wisdom, where the passion shows. He's the captain of kindness, the teacher we need, helping every simmer take off and succeed.